not disturbing the relationship with the United States. And so, to that extent, Japan has been a defender of U.S. interests in the region. We see it, for example, in the IMF link that's built into the CMI. The CMI, one reason why it hasn't been activated is that the country's access to assistance under CMI, up to the first 20%, it's with the agreement of the creditors in the group. But beyond 20%, they must have a program with the IMF. It's called the IMF link. And since the IMF is still dominated more by the United States than any other country, this is a way of indirectly maintaining a U.S. role in the region. And Japan has been very instrumental in maintaining the IMF link, even in the new CMIM. The U.S. has to be more subtle in promoting its interests in the region, but it clearly is a player. There's a hand back here someplace. Yes?
On the heterogeneity subject, the GCC countries are working toward the common currency right now. And these are very homogeneous countries. Same religion, same language, geographically linked to each other. Yet it doesn't fit in the heterogeneity path that you just put. They're still having so much problem. Two main countries just withdrew, the East just withdrew out of it. So the reason behind it is we can't blame it on heterogeneity. But we can more look into it. These countries have fixed baskets that ordinary currency are linked to foreign baskets.
No, they're linked to the dollar. They're directly linked to the dollar.
They just change.
Except Kuwait. Kuwait is Kuwait is the exception.
And the reason why they're going through it is we cannot face something called the state bankruptcy. So as long as the central bank is taking cover of the people, they have more power than to join the GCC on the currency. How do you explain that?
Okay, the GCC, for those of you who don't know, the Gulf Cooperation Council started back about the time of the, was it as early as that? Okay, I take back what I was about to say. Okay, yeah, it was primarily like ASEAN. It started as a security arrangement, and then gradually took on an economic role as well. I think it goes back about 10 years when they started talking about the creation of a Gulf currency, the name of which I can't repeat because I can't pronounce it, but call it a Gulf dinar. Originally there were 6 countries involved, and then Oman dropped out for reasons I'm not really sure about. Maybe somebody here, or maybe somebody knows. So it was carried forward with 5. And they actually established a timetable. They've created a prototype of a central bank. Kuwait sort of hedged its bets by shifting from a dollar peg, they all had dollar pegs up to that point, to a basket, but has nonetheless stayed within the group. The United Arab Emirates, led by Abu Dhabi, has walked out in the last year because of the decision to put the central bank in Saudi Arabia. And Abu Dhabi was very unhappy about that and walked out in protest, and they've said they won't come back. So now it's down to 4. Now, as I said earlier, of all the various proposals for monetary union around the world that came up in the last 15 to 20 years, the only one that's even come close is the GCC. And I think it's very simple to explain. There is the fact that they are relatively homogeneous countries. They're all countries that are oil rich or gas rich. Ethnically, they're all Muslim, etc. But I think that the biggest factor is simply Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is clearly the dominant country, not just because of its vast size, but because of the size of its oil reserves, the size of its monetary wealth, and so on. Saudi Arabia is able to provide the kind of leadership, the sanctions and side payments, the carrots and sticks, to bring along the smaller countries, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, if not United Arab Emirates. And so I think the explanation is very clear in this case, that it is due to the fact that there clearly is one country that is primus inter pares. The reason that the Emirates walked out is because they would like to think that with their wealth that they deserve to be co-leader like France to Germany. But I think the explanation is very clear.
Okay, well, I think we're a little past that 1 o'clock time, so let's thank Jerry again very much.
Thank you.